Okay, good evening. We're going to call this meeting to order at 4:30. And we'll start with the flag salute. Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States. Okay, roll call. We have Commissioner Ryan, Commissioner Paul, Commissioner Span, Carol Rogers present, Commissioner Juan Vargas, Natalie Martinez, and Jacqueline Kelleher. Do we have any oral communications? None. Okay, and have we had an opportunity to review the minutes? And if so, do I have a motion to approve?
A motion.
I'll second.
Okay. All in favor? Okay. So item number 2 on the agenda is John Paul the Great Catholic University private mural.
Yeah, I'm Kiana Herod. I'm the artist for the mural.
I'm Kevin Mazier. I'm the Chief Operating Officer of John Paul University. John Paul the Great Catholic University is the creative arts university on Grand Avenue downtown. We are looking to put a mural on the side of what used to be the Mingay Museum. It's located at 155 West Grand Avenue. There was a mural on that building up until about 4 or 5 years ago when the Mingay removed it to put back at their San Diego location. And since that time, this wall has been blank. We're looking at doing, I think it's a 16 by 30 foot mural, and I'll let Kiana explain it a little bit.
Okay. So the mural is a pretty simple composition. It starts. The focal point is this young boy, and so just a little bit on this young man. His name is Carlos Acutis. He was born in 1991 and lived most of his life in Milan, Italy. He died at the young age of 15 from leukemia in 2006. Despite this, he lived an impactful life. He is known for his deep devotion for the Catholic faith and his use of technology to share the faith with others. An example of this was creating a website to catalog worldwide Eucharistic miracles for his local parish, and this website is still used to this day. Like most teenagers, he had a keen interest in video games, music, sports, animation, computer programming, and so on. What set him aside from his peers was his drive to integrate his faith into his interests and into modern technology. Despite his short life, he demonstrated that one can live a profoundly virtuous life in this digital age and impact others in a positive way. And so, like I said before, it's a pretty simple composition. We have Carlos Acutis at the center of the mural, and then we have a large halo behind him, and then in his hand, he's grasping a rosary, and this is to indicate how the faith was the center of his life. And then he is surrounded by some of his favorite activities, such as like the book, to indicate his love for reading and comic books, the headphones because he loved music, computer for programming, technology, and then for the controller, his love of video games.
I like this mural. I love the composition of it, the way you've done the separate pieces. I think it's very, very, there's so much there to look at, just very engaging.
Everything that I've seen from John Paul the Great has been first class. And this is another representation of that. Seems like I saw this story of this young gentleman on TV or the internet. It's quite impressive. And I see it, really does a lot for the learning and what's happening there. And at John Paul the Great, it says it. I love murals that say something without having to explain it. If this gets approved, would there be a possibility of putting a QR code so people would know about this artist on the?
Yes.
That would be cool, I think, don't you? To have a QR code. Yeah, I do like it. And I like the way it's separated into individual panels, too. And I like the brightness of it, but it's not overwhelming. What was there before? Was that one of the moringa? Was it like a mosaic?
I don't recall who the artist was or the title of it, but it was a metal panel mosaic with some coins and other stamped shapes that had either a paint or a patina on different pieces.
It was just my curiosity. I don't know. Or do you know what happened to that?
It was moved back to the San Diego Mingay location at Balboa.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Sorry. I enjoy this because it's centered on him, yet it's very complex. It has like puzzle pieces that all come together to fit together. And it shows the complications of young people with different interests, and that yet at the same time the focus is back on him and his face. Thank you.
Yeah, I was just going to say I love the piece. Beautiful, great colors, very vivid. It's easy to look at, and I think the story is really, really amazing. And I think it really tells a lot about, its ties to the university.
Passers-by won't know who this is unless there's some description?
We're open to putting a plaque or a QR code or
Plaque.
something like that underneath it. The university formally hosted, and as soon as the construction is done on the Second Avenue project, we'll continue to host the alley art. And each of those pieces had a QR code on it, and we'll be enhancing how we display the QR code and artist information on that building so we could do something similar on this building.
Yeah, okay.
I assume that all, I'm sorry, go ahead. I assume that all this will be graffiti coated, and how long do you plan on this, the longevity of this? You're coming to us to approve it, not for money, right? Is that correct?
That's correct. It's privately funded.
Okay.
There's no plans to graffiti coat it because it's above pedestrian height.
It's true, yeah.
So we can explore that. I don't think we necessarily need to do that. We haven't had an issue with other pieces that we've had on our buildings.
Is this printed, Kevin?
It is.
Yeah.
So it's digitally printed onto aluminum panels.
I see.
We haven't had any difficulty with the Global Roots mural, either graffiti or anything like that. And this actually, I don't know who you're using, but it's probably the same process as we used, and it's guaranteed for like 25 years. And the nice thing about this wall is it's a west-facing wall, so it's not going to take a lot of sun. It'll have a lot of longevity.
Carol, since we learned about the new legislation, does this go to the mural committee, or is that not?
No.
It's a moot
This
point?
is not painted. That issue doesn't matter. It's printed. Yeah. Yep.
And Commissioners, if I may interject, this is privately funded on private property. And as the public art strategic plan indicated last year, what this is simply coming before you as the Public Art Commission to provide feedback and review. There is no approval process that is associated with this, so you will not be approving anything today. You are simply here to provide some basic feedback, and the feedback that you've provided thus far is very valuable for the John Paul the Great. So in response to knowing a little bit more about the artist, the gentleman, providing QR code, some sort of a plaque, this is all important information for these individuals to be able to take back with them and incorporate into this project. But there's no approval process there whatsoever.
Well, we've given our feedback.
Yeah.
So, yes, thank you. We love it. Can't wait to see it. How soon will it go up?
In the future.
Got to get through construction, right?
It'll be before construction's done on that. We'll target the next probably 60, 90 days.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to new business, line item number 3, threshold 5 sculpture.
Public Art Commission, thank you. My name is Robert Rhodes. I'm the Assistant Director of Community Services, and I'm here to share information about the Threshold 5 sculpture. This has actually been before you a couple of times at this point, and we're now finally, I think, at the final stage. So the first time this came before you was in July 8th, where the Escondido Community Foundation provided a presentation, and in that presentation they had 3 distinct projects they were presenting to the commission, to essentially donated to the city of Escondido. In relation to this specific project, it was one of those items, and the PAC, or the Public Art Commission, voted 7-0 to accept this project. Then, a little bit later on, so your November 18th meeting of last year, the artist came back with a specific request. The artist was very interested in donating this and allowing instead of being a temporary installation, which is what it was initially envisioned for, to become more of a permanent installation and part of your permanent collection. So again, at that particular meeting, you voted 7-0 to have staff explore the opportunity for it to be included in your permanent collection. There was a specific location that was identified at that time at Kit Carson Park. It would be at the top of one of the trails that wander through the undeveloped areas of Kit Carson Park. Unfortunately, placing it there would have provided a lot of logistical challenges in regard to environmental review. We have a very environmentally sensitive area in which there is some protected sage, as well as some animals that use that specific area. And so disturbance of that area was not possible for us to do without doing any type of an extended environmental review, which could have cost upwards of about $100,000. So as a result, we looked for different alternatives. We did want to keep it in Kit Carson Park, and so we met with the Escondido Community Foundation on February 24th, and we found and identified a new location to be able to do that with. So as a reminder, this is what the renderings of the Threshold 5 looks like. I often refer to it as the portal. It is a series of 5 shapes that essentially form a portal that get either smaller or larger depending on the view that you have taken of this. The great thing is this is made out of metal. It has a lot of longevity and will last the span of time as it continues to patina over that period of time, and that we don't anticipate any problems or challenges going forward with that. So the identified location again is in Kit Carson Park, and you can see here where that is going to be located, which is at the edge of Eagle Scout Lake. essentially at the corner of Entrance Drive and Castaneda Drive. So for those of you that are kind of curious of what that is, and I was not familiar with some of the names of the roadways in the park. I was a little surprised. It was Castaneda Drive and Entrance Drive. So Entrance Drive is right where the fire station is at, so right off of Mary Lane, and it comes right into the park and tees into Castaneda Drive. So that's the specific location. Our parks team, as you can see there is a DG path that kind of goes through that area. And one of the things in speaking with our parks team is they are more than happy to readjust that path to fit the needs of the sculptor that is going to be bringing this sculpture in, whether they want it to go through the center of that sculpture itself, they want it to go around the sculpture, but our team is willing to work with the artist to ensure that their vision is implemented, whether it is essentially looking directly over the park or directly over the lake or positioned a little bit differently otherwise. So what we are asking is that our recommendation is that the Public Art Commission accept the sculpture into the city's permanent collection at this time. And we're here to answer any questions that you might have.
I'd like to start with a motion that we accept Threshold 5 sculpture into the city's public art collection. And if I could get a second, we can start the discussion.
I'll second that motion.
Thank you. Comments?
I love this. I'm just happy we're able to make it work. So thank you so much.
Yeah, I'm all in on this. This is an awesome sculpture for sure.
Yeah, wait, I have a question, and I love it very much. I walk there all the time, the loop, and so they're going to make the path possibly go through it?
It'll depend on what the artist would like to do. Now, keeping in mind that it goes from I believe it's like a 6 foot all the way down to like a 3 foot. So while the path may technically go through it, if that's what the artist so chooses to do, as an adult individual, you may not be able to walk through it unless you decide to crawl on your hands and knees. But again, the parks team is willing to make the adjustment based on what the desire is of the artist themselves.
Okay, I'm sure it'll be lovely, no matter what.
I think this specific pathway also splits it from the cement
Yeah,
path
it
to a
does.
dirt path.
does.
And it looks like they're choosing the dirt path, which will be easier to
Right.
adjust as well. But yeah, I'm excited about this too.
The nice thing about that particular space, too, is part of the reason why it was chosen. It's a very prominent location right when you drive into the park. It does overlook Eagle Scout Lake. In addition to that, there's no issues with any type of environmental review or concern. There is no issues with any type of irrigation in that particular area that would disrupt the maintenance and landscape of that space.
That's great.
Well, I'd just like to say I loved it on the hill, and I love it here even more. It kind of reminds me of how Nikki, the garden was going to be somewhere else, and it became, I think this will be an iconic spot. I think it's perfect. I think people will be able to enjoy it more. The other, it's like a surprise, but I understand this, and it's going to be a thrilling art piece.
I think one of the other things that's really important to note is that this is accessible to everybody. On the original location at the top of the hill, while it would have been very nice and have had incredible, amazing views, unfortunately not everybody would maybe have access to it, especially those individuals that are otherwise abled. They may not have been able to make it up the hill to be able to see that piece of art. Whereas now with the DG path, that is a complete possibility for them to be able to go over there and experience it for themselves as well.
If we don't have any more comments, vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Approved 7-0.
Thank you. And Robert, what's the timeline?
We are pretty close to moving forward. In fact, Sandra was working on the agreement with the artist already. And so once that finishes, then they can start the process of working with because they also have submitted to us the engineering drawings as well. So this artist is fully ready to go. I would anticipate sometime by the middle of summer, depending on how quickly they can move forward, we might be able to have it up and ready.
Nice, great, thank you. Okay, item number 4, Escondido Expressions Traffic Signal Box Program.
Good evening, Commissioners. I'm Sandra Aguilar, Management Analyst for Economic Development, and it's my pleasure to give you an update on the Escondido Expressions Program. As a reminder, the Escondido Expressions Program is designed to enhance and bring art to Escondido's neighborhoods and commercial areas by transforming traffic signal boxes into works of art. The goal is to highlight local artists, deter graffiti, and expand the city's public art by creating scenes that reflect the vibrancy and diversity of local neighborhoods. On July 8th, the full commission approved 15 locations and accompanying themes to be released for the first call of artists from the Public Art Commission. Each artist chosen will receive a $500 stipend for one box, and one box will receive an additional $200 stipend. To date, 19 boxes have been painted or are in process. Now to give you a little update on Phase 3.1, it was released on September 24th. After review by the subcommittee and 2 weeks of public input, the subcommittee's final recommendations were approved on November 18th. These are all 6 boxes have now been complete. At the last Public Art Commission, you saw these all in various stages, and the very last box, What a Wonderful World by Ryan Keith Ross, has been completed. There was a car accident that hit a nearby wall, and repairs had to be done, delaying the painting time. The call for artists for Phase 3.2 was released on January 13th. After review by the subcommittee and 2 weeks of public input, the subcommittee's final recommendation was approved on March 10th, 2025. 3 boxes were selected. These 2 have been completed, so we have Utterly Happy Cows by Cindy Peters and Latino Cultura by Steven Zamora. 1 box is in progress still. This is the Colorful Perseverance box by artist Lauren Clean near the Palomar College. On Wednesday, March 5th, the call for artists for Phase 3.3 was released for 6 locations and themes. The distribution channels included the city's website and the Public Art Commission's professional and personal networks. On Friday, March 28th, the submissions deadline was the submissions deadline. Sorry about that. We received 5 submissions by 3 artists for 3 locations. On Monday, April 10th, the Escondido Expression Subcommittee met in order to select the top submissions for these locations. 1 location had 1 submission, and it was not released as the committee did not feel the submission fit the theme. A 2nd location received 2 submissions. The committee did not feel the submissions were a good fit for this location. The 3rd location received 3 submissions. The subcommittee released 2 of the top selections for public input. The 2 weeks of public input took place from Monday, April 21st to Sunday, May 4th. And on Monday, May 5th, the Escondido Expression Subcommittee reconvened to make a final recommendation. The 20th box for the Escondido Expressions program is located on Harding and East Valley Parkway in front of the Farmer's Boy business. This location received 3 submissions, and the subcommittee preferred to only release the top 2 submissions, which you see here. The one on the left is called Corner Sparkle by Lex M.F. Lee. Lex is a designer and illustrator with a background in interior design. Regarding the inspiration behind Corner Sparkle, Lee states, "I see this mural as a gentle anchor, a pocket of wonder, the kind of image you might glimpse while looking at a red light and suddenly remember a dream. The stars and moons have followed me through all the stages of my art journey. This box becomes a tiny portal, a bit of magic on the corner of your day. The submission on the right is called Table for One by Seth Karian, owner of Homesteads. Regarding the inspiration for this piece, Steph states, "It's not meant to be complicated. It's about contrast, nature versus abstract, soft versus strong, light versus dark. The tree stands in the middle because it's about balance, or about being stuck in the middle, depending on how you look at it. I let the viewer decide. I like art that is quiet but makes you look twice." The public support was for Table for One. The subcommittee unanimously selected Corner Sparkle for this location as they believed it was a better fit for the location and with the overall collection. The staff recommendation is to approve the artist submission for the traffic signal box as recommended by the Escondido Expression Subcommittee. I'm here to answer any questions you may have.
Excuse me, I'm not sure I understood something that you said. Did you say something about public input Table for One?
The public input was higher for Table for One. Table for One received 71 votes, and Corner Sparkle received 49 votes.
Okay.
We'd like your input.
I just needed clarification. Like to hear what the rest of you think.
What's that? Okay. I have just been so impressed with how much time and how much thoughtfulness that has gone into each one of these boxes. I mean, you know what happened on that corner of where the cows are. You know there's animals around. So I don't feel like either one of these the one on the right to me doesn't have enough. I mean, you see it from one angle or maybe two at the time, it just looks like color. And the other, to me, looks like the road to Palomar, and I don't see that on Harding. This is not to say anything except bravo for the incredible job that the Expressions has done, but I don't think that these two really give that impression of the area or the complexity or, a little bit more. That's all.
Can I make some comments about what we went through? We were a little hard pressed because we didn't get many submissions. And the woman who did the one on the left, she submitted a lot of designs for a lot of boxes. And we felt like we wanted to honor her for that, as well as that we liked it.
I like both of these. I think they're great. They're simpler than much of what we've seen in the past, but sometimes art is simple.
I think the piece on the right, perhaps it's a piece meant for a flat surface versus one you have to. If I'm driving my car, I'm not going to be like, oh, there's a tree. I wonder what else there is. Oh, it's a red sun. Oh, boom.
Exactly.
I'm T-boned. So I love the concept though. So I hope the artist, if they're listening, love the piece. I think for the utility boxes, maybe not exactly the right surface.
I think at our last subcommittee meeting also, the Table for One, we all agreed that it was a very great piece. But like Jacqueline said, it's not the best for the box at this time necessarily. But yeah, we do enjoy the artwork. So it's nothing against the artist.
Yeah, I think I agree. It's for the box. It's really hard to, as you're driving down there. And I used to live on that side of town. I lived there for several years, and yeah, I mean it's something that you pass by. So if you tend to notice it, I mean it's going to be hard to see. Oh, like she said, the sun is on one side, the tree is on the other, and this and that. So I don't know why, but this moon really catches my attention. Like it's very like almost like three-dimensional. So that like engages me, but also just being able to appreciate the rest of the stars versus just like the single like little designs, which I agree. I think this would be a great mural a whole, but on a box, I would tend to go with the left, with the corner sparkle.
And I guess because it's like the details are so delicate too.
Yeah.
Versus like we have the grape stomper, we have, you know, Cruisin' Grand, we have the produce box and all that stuff. They're very big, very noticeable, and I think this one's delicate in the best way.
When we were looking at the boxes for that corner, it's a very busy corner, as you all know. Lowe's is there, the main post office, Home Depot. No, I think is it Lowe's on that corner? Home Depot. In any event, this box brings a quieting to a very busy intersection, and that's what appealed to me. And you're also having to drive fast, and you're distracted by all the businesses. And so you'll get a glimpse of this box that's very familiar to all the sides. And so I found it to have a quieting value, but at the same time an impact. And so that's one reason why I particularly liked that box.
Do we have a motion?
A motion to approve the corner sparkle.
I'll second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, item
I'm
number.
sorry.
Oh,
No, right? Okay, so approved 6-0,
Approved,
Span, no. Okay.
sorry. Item number 5 has been,
So item number 5 has been pulled at the request of staff. We need to take a little bit more time to look into ensuring that the process is appropriate. We had enough and very robust participation as far as the community was concerned. And so we are pulling it at this time, and then it will come back to you very soon. So
and
thank
just
you.
to clarify, item number 5 is the Grand Avenue Art Project Roundabout.
That's correct.
Okay, and moving on to item number 6 is our 25-26 annual work plan update.
All right. Thank you. As was established last year when you approved the Public Art Strategic Plan, every year the commission forms a subcommittee and you come forward with an annual work plan. This is the first year that we've been able to fully complete that, and so now we are looking at our next full year of the annual work plan, so for 25-26. Again, just to kind of go through that little bit of background, May 20th of last year, you approved the Public Art Strategic Plan, and along with it, the 24-25 annual work plan. And then in September 18th, 2024, the City Council approved, again, both the Public Art Strategic Plan and Annual Work Plan with associated funding for each of those particular items. On January 13th, earlier this year, we established a subcommittee with Commissioners Paul, Rogers, and Span to form the subcommittee that would have a conversation and talk a little bit more about what you'd be looking for your annual work plan for 25-26. So just to kind of reiterate the implementation timeline, in January of 2025, you formed that subcommittee, and then from February to April, that subcommittee formulated a plan. You may recall on your March meeting, we brought forth a preliminary plan. You provided some additional input on that, and this is going to be kind of the formulation of that. So we are going to review the plan that you've developed, and we're going to ask for your approval. Then in July, you are going to review what you've done with the 24-25 annual work plan, and then you're going to present the 25-26 annual work plan to the subcommittee. And then anticipating your implementation for these projects in August of 2025. As you recall, there are 4 specific and distinct areas, and so reviewing your 24-25 annual work plan under art solicitation was the Grand Avenue project, which was $500,000. That is currently in progress. The Escondido Creek Trail, which was $250,000, also currently in progress. The Escondido Expressions program was $7,500, and it has been completed, and although there are a few boxes that still need to be complete, but for the most part, that program is finished. And then there was the murals program that was added on for $100,000. And for the most part, that also served as a completed program as well. Under art education, you had a very successful Art, Culture, and Creativity Month this last April for $50,000. The public art education pamphlet for $10,000. We ended up producing a small postcard, but it was very effective. People seems to be going to the website quite a bit, which was really nice from that QR code and being able to see all the different art pieces that we have throughout the city, as well as the ability for them to be able to crowdsource and share with us those items that may not be listed on the website that we can add going forward. And then lastly, as you recall, last month, or the previous month, so in March, the Escondido Union High School District, you voted on the student murals going forward, and again, that is in progress with the expected completion date would be summer of this year. The last 2 items are the art maintenance, the community sculpture. Unfortunately, we've not been able to address that. And that's largely due to the lack of funds specifically associated with being able to repair or maintain our art pieces. And so we're still looking into that. So again, Queen Califia's Magical Circle, same thing with that. And then we are looking forward to developing a revenue source for maintenance. You're going to see that show up in the coming fiscal plan. You'll see that in the following year's annual work plan. And then deaccessioning is Vinehenge, and that was completed. You did deaccession Vinehenge, and Cruz removed that piece. We have saved a couple of those items so that it allows us to be able to, at a future date, should we do something, we can include a portion of those items in what we do in the future. So that brings us to the 25-26 annual work plan. Again, under art solicitation, you have 3 projects this time, which include the Grand Avenue project, which is currently in process, the Escondido Creek Trail project, also currently in process, and then the Escondido Expressions program, which will be continuing on into the next year. As far as art education is concerned, we are going to look at doing Art, Culture, and Creativity Month. This was our very first one, and it was incredibly successful. It was really amazing, and I think that you're going to want to be able to put some more funding towards that for next year to make it even bigger and better, so we've added that to the list. Again, also going to continue our partnership with the Escondido Union High School District to ensure that students have an opportunity to continue to participate and express their participation with murals on city property as well. And then the Queen Califia and Sculpture Garden Strategic Plan, we are going to work towards that also. And then just to give you some information about that, any of these items and we can happy to answer any additional items. For the most part, they seem self-explanatory. As far as the Queen Califia and Sculpture Garden Strategic Plan, what we are looking to do is to work in partnership with the Nikki Foundation to really start to think about where do we want to go in the future with Queen Califia, as far as potentially building an event space, building a gift shop, having restrooms that are out there, as well as being able to use some of that space that's in that park for fundraising opportunities, and also be able to display some of our decommissioned sculptures that we have. So I talked earlier about some of the items that we've kept from Vinehenge that would potentially go within this space. And so we would be developing a plan to be able to move that forward in the future. And then as far as our art maintenance is concerned, we have 2 items related to that. One is the banner program, and this banner program would allow us to be able to have a banner in between the time at which we take down our holiday banners and then be able to put up our hero banners, which are actually going to be going up within the next week or so now. So there's an opportunity for us to be able to fundraise through this potential banner program, get sponsors, as well as define what we're looking for this program a little bit more, and start building a maintenance fund. So this is the first step in us being able to build a maintenance fund. And then, of course, continuing to look at a variety of different grant opportunities going forward. We also are looking at deaccessioning a few items. However, the subcommittee was a little bit torn on which particular items potentially would be deaccessioned. So we can look at those. You do not necessarily have to deaccession an item because the top one, which is the Mercado Grand Series, which is at the corner of Grand Avenue and Center City Parkway, while we had assumed they were highly damaged, as it turns out, probably only one of them is needs some repair work, which is really nice. And then those other items, shifting threshold and pillars of the community, are something that you can look at as well.
I did look again at shifting threshold. It looks pretty good, actually. Those are the Joan Irvin pieces. I realized that my problem with it was the signage that's all around it. And that's not shifting threshold's fault.
Is that the one at the transit center?
No, it's the East Valley Parkway. Yeah, right, the median.
Those are like stained glass.
They're like
along
stained glass squares near Palomar.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
I remember now. Okay. And then pillars of the community are the ones on Escondido Boulevard, right?
That's correct. And a number of them have been moved. They've been damaged beyond repair. So that may be the best bet for you to actually do deaccessioning of those particular pieces.
Yeah.
So with regard to funding, you will note that there are a number of carryover items as well as added funding. So we're looking at the Escondido Creek Trail. Because of the uniqueness of the Escondido Creek Trail, should we be able to receive that exemption from the state of California, and I say we, I mean the entire state of California getting the exemption for muralists rather than having a licensed paint contractor, we are looking at adding $60,000 to this. Because of the uniqueness of being able to paint directly on the walls, there are a number of safety protocols that we will have to take into consideration that we will need to allow the artists to invest in that equipment, whatever that might be. And so adding an additional $60,000 to that seemed most appropriate for us to be able to add money to this particular project. There will be no change to the Escondido expressions. We're just going to use that as carryover all the way through, so there will be no added funding to that, and they will just still have about $15,000 available to spend. The Grand Avenue Art Project started off at $500,000. We're recommending an additional $50,000. Part of the reason for the recommendation of the additional $50,000 is that allows us for a 10% contingency. So should something occur that we need to look at, invest in, things might, because we are going to have to, when that project gets installed, we are actually going to have to close down the street. We're also going to have to close down the street when we do the ribbon cutting for it as well. And so we also are looking at the possibility of maybe doing a certain number of studies depending on the type of material that is being used. So because of that, we wanted to throw in some additional money there for contingency for this particular project. The Art, Culture, and Creativity Month for next year, as you might recall, we started off with $50,000. Again, it was very successful. We thought that adding an additional $25,000 to it, so a total of $75,000 would be appropriate to be able to expand the opportunities for the different local organizations and artists to be able to also apply for additional grant funding. So then the banner program, while we are ballparking right now $20,000 for that, we don't expect it to cost that much, and then in fact be able to generate more money than what it would actually be costing us to have the expense for that particular program. And that overage for whatever that would be would go into a fund specifically for taking care of the maintenance and repair items for artwork that you deem necessary and appropriate, to assist us in repairing, considering the one that I keep hearing is the community sculpture on Iris and Valley Parkway. That would, I think, be one of our first ones that we would look at repair work for. We also added, so similar to what was added last year, the $100,000 for the murals. As you have seen, which has come up a couple of times this last year, is that you still get a number of community requests. And so building in funding for specific community requests seems very appropriate for us to be able to do. So approximately $50,000 for those particular community requests. Now, as staff, we would need to build in a process to make sure that that would be done appropriately. They would have maybe an application process. There would be a presentation. Again, that would be something that the staff would take care of initially. And then that would provide you with a process for saying, yes, I'm willing to fund this. No, I'm not willing to fund this, kind of a thing. But it gives us a process to be able to work through and establish initially. The next item on there is the Escondido Union High School District student murals. Again, we want to maintain that partnership. While this is the last year of our 5-year agreement with them, I do envision that continuing into the future because students fostering student artists, I think, is very important, especially when it comes to this commission, this body. And so we also looked at increasing that cost from $10,000 last year to $15,000 this coming year. That could be divided up a couple of different ways, and that might include saying, hey, can you give us 2 murals rather than just 1? Or we maybe want a larger mural or something along those lines. But those are things that you can talk about at one of your later meetings. And then lastly, again, the Queen Califia strategic plan, we are building in $100,000. Likely what we would do is we would reach out to a consultant, and a consultant would do a big portion of that work to relieve city staff the opportunity or the need to be able to drain our capacity from having to manage such a large project. One of the things that you will also note down there is the public art installation account. That is our reserve account. That is the account that of all the monies that we have available within the public art fund total, those are the unallocated monies that we will have available to us for future years. In your packet, you will also see a very detailed line item list of how that works out and what the expected funding would be over the course of the next 5 years. Now, that's expected funding. That can ebb and flow, so there's a possibility you might see more funding in a particular year. There might be a possibility you might see less funding in a particular year because, again, all of this is tied to developers' fees and what is currently in the pipeline and the interest of developers paying a fee in lieu of providing public art to the city of Escondido. So again, when we talk about deaccessioning, some considerations that, again, would be the condition of the artwork, funding for repair or lack thereof, and the possibility of it lacking any additional value. So those are, again, the 3 items that you are looking at, which would be the Mercado Grande series. If you look at the top left side of your screen with regard to that picture that is there, that is the only piece that is damaged. I think you can tell the rest of those pieces are actually in very good condition, and as a result, I would not necessarily recommend the deaccessioning of this particular piece. And I think Commissioner Paul might be correct in regard to it's just a matter of positioning with regard to shifting threshold. So your best bet, since we already have a number of items that have already been damaged, a number of items that have been removed, perhaps pillars of the community might be your best bet for having that deaccessioned going forward. Of course, these are all for your consideration. Does not necessarily mean you have to. However, based on those recommendations, I would definitely say pillars of the community would be the one that I would remove. All right, so our recommendation tonight is to request that the Public Art Commission approve and adopt the 25-26 annual work plan, proposed funding, and make a recommendation for deaccessioning as recommended by the annual work plan subcommittee. That concludes our presentation. We're happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Well, first of all, Robert and Sandra, you did an excellent job. This is a very thick package, and it's very robust, and we really appreciate all the efforts that you put in.
Yes.
Would this be appropriate time for me to discuss the seats in Washington Park? Would this be a appropriate time for me to discuss the seats in Washington Park?
If that's something you would like included in the annual work plan, that is something that you can propose to the remainder of the commission.
Yes. With your permission, I'll do that at this time. I don't know if you have a picture of it. I have an extra one here.
We do not.
Okay, so when I was touring Washington Park, which I do periodically to make sure that everything is okay, I came upon these seats that I've actually never really seen before. I don't know why, but they're there. There are 11 seats. 8 of them are the same size, and 3 are 2 inches shorter. In case you don't get this in time for this discussion, these are the seats. They're cement, very plain, and right as you enter going towards the pool area. So they're in a very predominant place. I was looking at them, and of course the first thing I thought of is how plain are these seats? And the second, what a great opportunity for young artists to be able to paint a seat at Washington Park. Bringing in color, bringing in maybe history, bringing in different art forms, and then also being able to be a young artist and be inspired by it is really important to me, and I think it's also important to other council people and on city council also, on our subcommittee, and also on our public art committee. So I wanted to propose that we look at this. I did present it to our smaller subcommittee last week, and it was suggested that I brought it to us on our commission. So at this point, I'd like to see maybe that possibly going into the work plan, they would be less than $500, which fills that requirement of not going over $500. And it would give 11 young people an opportunity to display their art.
Just to clarify, because it is a student art, it does not have to follow the requirement of having a contractor's license.
Great, that's wonderful. Is there an age like 18 and under?
High school student.
Or just high school?
I wouldn't, so Commissioner Ryan, would
Yes.
it be, do you think that the right place to start this conversation might be under the Escondido Union High School District Student Mural Project? I mean, you're talking about student murals.
Correct.
And that park has been the site of many of the murals, and I think that that would be a great conversation to have
Right.
with that team. We already have funding in place. We're, we have put funding in the proposed budget, and we've increased that. That's a phenomenal idea, and I think that
Yeah.
they might like that as a
I think
new
so.
way to create and make that park beautiful.
Thank you. I did bring this to attention, and it was suggested that I brought it underneath the end of this annual plan. But your idea is excellent because that's where the budgeting would probably come from and the resources. And I just, I'm kind of excited about it. You have to stroll over to Washington Park to really understand how these are blank canvases. And so that's the end of my introduction to the cement seats.
I'd like to piggyback on that. Were you going to say something about that?
No, I was going to ask a question.
On that note, I would like to see us, because of this whole situation with the issue with the new law that we're not able to, fund. Well, we're not really going to be able to see murals in the next until we figure this all out. So I think a good opportunity might be to maybe, because it sounds like some of these extra monies are coming from the original mural project monies, right? Or is that not the case? Is it not necessarily?
So the monies that you're seeing within the proposed funding are a number of different sources, which includes the new funding for, and I believe it's, and I don't have the paperwork in front of me, you'll forgive me, and I apologize for that. It's like, I believe it's $360,000. Then in addition to that, you have the carryover monies that was not used the previous, so the current fiscal year, and those that monies that we still have left over from the current fiscal year that will not likely be used up through the end of this fiscal year.
And that includes the part of the monies from the mural funding that we.
Part of that includes the mural funding, part of that includes the education pamphlet. So there's a variety of different ones as well.
So with that being said, I'd like to propose to actually increase the EUHSD project. I know obviously we would have to take some money away from different things, and I'd like to propose to actually increase it to $35,000. If we take pieces of other, because like we take $5,000 from the Arts and Culture Creativity Month, $5,000 from the banner program, and maybe $10,000 from the community requests, since that's kind of an up in the air thing to begin with. That'll allow us to have more murals in the city that are student-led and kind of ease us in this whole issue that we're having with the state right now. What do you all think?
I believe you said that state law doesn't count for high school students?
Exactly. So that's my point, is that because we're kind of stuck right now with this whole new law, in the meanwhile, we could actually have more murals in the city, and kind of, I don't want to say like a workaround, but, have more opportunities for more art in the city.
This is similar to a discussion that our subcommittee had about potentially setting aside more money for mural or community requests. And one of the things that I think that we need to look at as a commission is how aggressive this plan is. As long as I've lived in Escondido, I have not seen our Public Art Commission try and do this many projects. And so I hear you that we want more student work. We want more murals. We definitely do. We also want to make the best use of our time and our staff time to bring the Escondido Creek Trail and the Grand Avenue project to the best possible outcome. And I think in the future, and this is my opinion, I want to hear what all of you guys have to say. In the future, perhaps we would increase that student mural amount of money. At one time, we gave them an open checkbook that resulted in us writing $35,000 checks for a couple of murals, whereas in the real world of artists, we got a 100-foot mural for less than $30,000. So I would prefer not to increase that budget at this time.
The other thing, too, that we need to acknowledge is school budgets right now are also hurting. So is $15,000 going to be able to assist? Because obviously the school district does put in their own money as well, so it's not all just them. Is $15,000 going to be sufficient to ensure that this project remains afloat? I guess, have we looked into that at all? And it's just a curiosity.
So we have not spoken with the school district specifically, because we've said, like this current fiscal year, we said, your limit is $10,000. How you choose to spend that $10,000 is entirely up to you on how you want to allocate that funding. As Commissioner Rogers mentioned, we were giving them a very heavy blank check previously, and they were just simply submitting requests. And so I'm not saying that those expenses were not valid. I do not believe that this commission was getting their money's worth with regard to allowing a blank check. This way, we have much greater accountability.
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, this isn't a blank check, and I don't think that's what I'm saying. I mean, what I'm saying is that there's obviously going to be a limit to what we're able to spend. I just don't think that 15. I know we've increased it from 10 to 15, but and I'm open to other suggestions. We could raise it to 25 or 20. Like I just thought it would be a good way to work around this current issue that we're having with murals being put up in the city, and also kind of putting into account if there's any issues with funding on the school district side because of issues with funding from other programs, that maybe we could assist with offsetting that through this.
I think that the question here is capacity, right? I believe that it was alluded to that as your staff representatives, we only have so much capacity because we are not wholly dedicated to the public art program. And we are also leaning on the school district and their art teachers to allow them to be able to share this information with their art teachers, and they have a certain capacity too because they are expected to teach and all the other administrative duties they are. So I know that our contact, our liaison with regard to the school district, she is amazing. She does a great job and reaches out to all the art teachers of all the different schools. However, her capacity is just as limited as ours is. And so I don't think there's a reasonable expectation that we would be able to get that much more out of them. Now, as Commissioner Ryan has suggested, these boxes that are at Washington Park, I think this is a great idea, and it's something that very easily could be floated. I do think that maybe 15,000 might be a little bit low if we want all 11 boxes to be done. Maybe we look at only having 5 boxes to be done, and then we say, $20,000. But ultimately, you're the ones that are deciding how much you're going to fund all of this. You do not also have to take from the other line items that are in there. You can also take from your reserves. That would bring down your reserve a little bit. Wouldn't necessarily be something that I would recommend, but it is a path that you also have available to yourselves as well.
I have a comment about the seats. Is that okay? Okay, sorry, change subject. If we were to draw from this student murals funding for these seats, I think, like you said, Robert, I feel like it would have to be a all-in-one type of thing, because I think the juxtaposition of these seats next to murals that have received $10,000 in funding, if we were just going to say $500 a pop, paint one, kiddo. I think like the juxtaposition of those seats to these murals, I just don't know. I don't know how I feel about that because of, the work that goes in, right, for these huge pieces. And I think I'd need to take a look at these seats in person to see like their visibility, to the road, to the park, to the different facilities. I've obviously been to Washington Park, but I think I'm just not sure about this. Those are my thoughts.
You mean you're not sure about $500 a piece?
I'm not sure. Yeah, I definitely would not do it for $500 a piece, given that we've kind of saved this park for these Escondido, high school district projects. It would be interesting to see the creativity of a student using this, but also you make it more difficult for the students and the teachers to kind of work on something like that. Those are my thoughts. I just think those are great thoughts, and we're not deciding whether they're going to paint those today. And we tried to do 11 electrical boxes in one call and found out that was overwhelming for everyone. So, yeah. Still think the seats are a good idea, and you should talk to the high school district. Whether we change the funding is really the question here.
Mm-hmm. To be honest with you, as a former art teacher with my own private school, I would imagine getting over 500 is too much per seat, to be honest with you. If you have a plan, and of course you will implement it, you'll approve it, but if the student has a plan, I would imagine within a weekend that they could get most of it done. So I was thinking in terms of 350 to 500 a seat. The murals definitely warranted what they received in prices, but I think I think the students could find very interesting, intricate patterns to paint on these seats that would bring the area to come to life. I encourage you to go down and look at them because I think you'll see what I saw, but you may not. And this is something that needs further discussion for sure.
I guess that brings us back to the capacity question.
Can I add?
Right.
Sorry. I think the question here is the budget because the conversations of the seats and the murals will come up after the budget is set and we know sort of what the capacity is, which is important, especially in terms of space at Washington Park. I know the mural space is getting tight there too. So we're going to have those conversations with the school district. But I guess on my end, I wouldn't be opposed to increasing the budget, especially since we're going to have to get creative in terms of what projects we're seeking to have with the school district.
Yeah, and I think at one point we had discussed branching out from Washington Park to other city-owned properties, right? Or
That's correct. And being that this is the last summer that we will have an agreement with the school district, although the agreement does say recreational facilities, that could be anywhere within the city limits. We've heavily focused on Washington Park at this point.
Yeah, and I understand the whole capacity thing, but just working in the district. I mean, if it's for the students, we could always figure it out on the. I mean, I'm not speaking for the district, obviously, but yeah, it's. So I don't know. I just thought it would be a good idea to, considering our conundrum with this whole mural situation and these. It's essentially already in place, right? Where we need to have artists with a painter's license. Is that what, like a contractor's license?
That's correct. They do
Yeah.
have to have a paint contractor's license to paint murals on city buildings.
Exactly. So I just thought it might be a good idea to use the resources we currently have to kind of offset, and then we could still continue to liven up our city with murals.
Is this the only line item on the budget that anyone has any comments on? Is there a motion?
I have a question about community requests. Don't worry, different line item. Is that like the things we've been considering with the chicken feed company and possibly someone who's like, I want to paint those stairs at the Murr shops?
Right, and the roundabout on Calmia.
Got it. Okay.
Although the roundabout on Calmia could come from the Grand Avenue money, depending on the cost of the sculpture. And that's one of the things to think about, too. There are opportunities, there will be mural opportunities on the Escondido Creek Trail. There are opportunities in other places, but so we are only talking, we like this budget, except for the student mural line item. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's what I brought up. So
Do we have a motion?
I have one more. I have one more statement, or not statement, but just I know we're forward-thinking people, and that's the whole idea of having a budget and looking ahead and having things on that budget that we can look forward to. Might be putting the cart before the horse at this point. I mean, I think there's room in there for the to-dos if we're talking about the student murals, doing a student mural and still doing, less student murals and still doing the seats. I think it needs more time to think about it. I don't feel comfortable saying yes to it at this point. Of course, would love to see more well-done, meaningful murals from students in town, But just because we can't do something else doesn't mean we should be doing this.
Mhm.
That's all.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, well, does 35,000 feel too much, or, I mean, is there another, like, maybe 25?
I wouldn't push it above 20.
Yeah, you need to make a motion.
I motion that we increase the EUHSD student murals from 15,000 to 25,000.
Do we have a second?
I second that motion.
You want to go ahead and vote?
All in favor? And
Are we approved 4
approved 4-3.
to 3?
The 3 that made the budget.
Yeah.
For clarity, commissioners, I just want to identify that we will be taking that additional $10,000 out of the reserve fund rather than affecting any of the other items that are listed. Is that accurate?
Yes, I guess we need to make a motion now to approve the budget with that change to the student mural line to 25,000, and that additional money will come out of the reserve account.
Correct.
I need a second.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, that's approved 7-0.
Okay, thank you. And we are moving on to the Queen Calafia report, item 7.
Okay. So as we all know, we provide the very basic report for you with regard to Queen Calafia. So for March, we were open for 7 days. That was a lot less than what we would normally have. We did have a number of rainouts. There is some concern from the docents as to why we are closed within the rain within 24 hours. I just want to be very clear that it is a safety concern for us, and we don't want anybody to slip and fall. We don't want any injuries. We also don't want any damage to the sculpture itself, and hence why we're only open after the rain more than 24 hours. So just wanted to be clear about that. One of the great things is right now is we are working on installing the visitor guideline sign, and that should be completed very soon. So that'll be really nice. It's a new set of visitor guidelines, so it's very clear for people what they can and what they cannot do within that space. Our recreation leader, Nicolina, also did her first docent gathering with all of the docents, which was very nice. Had information about everybody gathering together, tell a little bit about yourself, how long that you have been a docent. Also provided some background on Nikki and the Queen itself, which was really wonderful to be able to hear and to share with the docents, to be able to get a little bit more of that historic perspective. And then we are working towards getting approval for a specific Queen Calafia postcard and stickers for the visitors. That has already been in concept approved by the Nikki Foundation, and we're currently working on the actual rendering of what that would look like. We will send that over to them for final approval before we move forward with that. So again, all a part of this marketing piece that we're going to be doing with the Queen as well. We also have an update coming for the docent binder to provide additional facts for the docents to be able to share within their toolkit that they'll be using. So that's it.
Cool.
I love that. The binder's going to be very helpful. Now, the stickers, are they for car windows, or are they for bumpers, or is it just a postcard?
So the stickers themselves will be, we envision the stickers be for little younger kids, so that it would be actual stickers that they would
Okay.
receive. And we would be very clear and cautious about them not sticking it on to anything within the Queen sculpture.
Oh, wow.
Adults like stickers too. Remember, our sticker stroll was very popular. Is there any plan to raise the private tour fee?
Not at this time. We haven't thought about that.
Robert, I'm thinking about the,
There we go.
just the stickers on, I mean, if kids take them off and they put them on the rocks and the stones around there and that's a little, I don't know. Just a thought. That could be an
That's something,
extra.
yeah, that's something that went into our calculation as well.
Okay,
But
I'm sure it
again,
did.
we're working towards trying to promote the Queen a little bit more, and this was one of those items. We sent over a number of items to the foundation to see what they would approve, including a pin. We wanted to have like a little pin as well, and they did not allow us to do the pin, but the stickers were okay.
Are we going to sell the stickers?
Well, we wanted to think about selling the pins and the pens. We had pins and pens, and they said no to both of those, unfortunately. So, as you can understand, they're very careful about what they will allow versus what they will not allow based on the Queen and Nikki's image. And it's
No
very,
tote bags?
we did not ask for tote bags,
Okay.
but it's a thought.
Robert, if there is a concern about stickers going on a tree or somebody's car, why not maybe think about making an interactive poster that the young people could take their sticker and place it on a poster and start to form a snake, for instance,
That's cool.
with different colors? And that way they could choose to either keep the stickers on them or put them on the poster, hopefully.
That's a very cool idea. We'll explore that for sure.
Outside the fence?
Absolutely.
And has there, and there still hasn't, there's no opportunity to actually like host events inside the.
It is possible to host an
with
event.
no food or drink, right?
No food or drink.
That's the issue, yeah.
That is correct. That's the big one. And that's why doing the strategic plan, as you've just recently voted on, going forward, will allow us to be able to start thinking about and developing plans for an event space.
Yeah, because that's a missed opportunity, I feel, and there's so many good yeah. Cool.
Okay, moving on to item 8, liaison report.
Absolutely. So we have a couple of different items. We alluded to it earlier, and that is the mural program. As you understand, right now we are on pause. However, I do have a little bit of good news for you, and that good news is that the law, or the bill that's currently going through the Assembly, SB 456, has made it through several different hurdles, including the subcommittee for Business, Professional, and Economic Development, as well as the Appropriations Committee. So it's passed through all of those. It is currently been told that it's going through a third reading, and if you know anything about politics, I didn't. I had to find out what a third reading meant as far as the Senate was concerned. That means it's actually going for a vote. So it will be going for a vote sometime very soon. They did not specify when that vote was going to come up, but it has been ordered to a vote. Should it pass the Senate, it then goes over to the Assembly and goes through their process, which is very similar to the Senate's process, which would mean it would probably go through the Business Profession Subcommittee as well as their Appropriations Subcommittee and then come up for a vote on the Assembly floor. Should all of those things go favorably and there are no changes to the bill from the Senate version to the Assembly version, then that is simply passed up to the governor for potential signature. So if you want to look at it a certain way, we're at like 45% of the way there, right? So once we hit and it passes the Senate, I would say that would be 50%, allow it to work its way up through the Assembly. So we're very close. I think it's very positive. There are quite a few organizations as well as municipalities that are very much in favor and co-sponsors of this bill. Just so you know, and I believe that you received this email, which was the mayor did also send a letter of support in favor of this bill as well. We have been in contact with several colleagues throughout San Diego County, and several of them sent letters of support also in regard to this. So there's a lot of support for this particular bill going forward. I would say, although I'm not a betting man, however, if I was, I would say maybe by this time next year, we would see some very positive results. So.
Cool.
The other item is that the Art Speaks, which is the Escondido Community Foundation items that you had accepted back on July 8th. There were 3 items. We talked about Threshold 5 earlier. We've accepted that into our permanent collection, so we'll be working through that process to get that installed as soon as possible. As far as the library mural and the Escondido Creek Trail mural is concerned, while those are also currently on pause, they are looking at alternative ways of being able to do that. Sandra has been in contact with the foundation, and they have been able to identify a number of licensed contracted painters that can take the artwork that they've received and transform that onto a building or a wall. And so the Community Foundation is committed to moving both of those projects forward, so that's kind of where we're at with that in lieu of the challenge. The other item is the Escondido Municipal Code Public Art Update that actually went before the City Council about a month ago. I apologize, that is information from the previous update I gave, but the Escondido Municipal Code for Public Art has been updated as of right now, so it has completely been updated. The next item, and this is the most challenging one for us, is that the Community Services Department is now being overseen by the Public Works Department. And so what is going to happen, and that was effective as of Tuesday, April 29th, what will happen is the public art program and oversight of the Public Art Commission will shift over into the Economic Development team. Sandra is a member of the Economic Development team and will maintain her commitment and liaison duties to the Public Art Commission. Unfortunately, I'm going to be reassigned to oversee some other projects at this time. So this is actually my last meeting with you all.
What?
So I was a little sad about that, but I know that I will continue to work with Sandra because she'll have a number of different questions for me, and I will be happy to assist her going forward. So one of my large projects that I'm going to be working on, as you very well know, is the library relocation. So we are knee-deep, actually we are probably eyebrow deep right now in the library relocation process. And so that is one of my very high priority projects to ensure that I'm getting completed. But I am happy to continue to step in and assist and participate where I can in working with Sandra and the Economic Development team moving forward. So, and that is the conclusion of my report at this time.
Bummer-rooney.
We love you, Robert.
We're
Oh,
not
yes,
happy
we
about
do.
this. We hate to see you go, but I know you'll still be around.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure working with you, Robert.
Thank you.
We will definitely miss you, but I know that Sandra will reach out if she needs you.
This is why Sandra has been sitting with me for the last 6 months.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. And
I figured something was up. But you've done a great job and passed on all that knowledge to Sandra.
Thank you.
So Sandra, welcome into that new role.
Yeah, I
Welcome,
look
Sandra.
forward to continuing my work with the public art and having my time increase that will be dedicated to public art.
Yay, but I'm also
Great.
disappointed.
Robert, I have to give you a round of applause Yes. because
Thank
you
you.
have been amazing. Just amazing.
thank you.
And we'll also, whoops, we're too late.
we could do a wave.
Thanks for everything.
Thank you.
You rock.
Thank you.
That library is going to be awesome.
It is.
is absolutely going to be amazing.
Before we close the meeting, we talked a little bit about Arts, Culture, and Creativity Month in April, and I had the opportunity to attend many of the events. I'm curious what events, if you had an opportunity to attend, what were your favorites? I don't know, we don't have all night, but what were your favorites, and maybe if you have any suggestions?
The Indigenous Art Festival was super awesome. I loved it. I love that type of art. I love how it wasn't just art, it was music, performances. You know, it was amazing. I love that so much.
I'm always at work, so I wasn't able to go to any events, but I do run into people and who know I'm on the Public Art Commission, and they were very excited to have attended the events. I heard great things about the Alebrije workshop and the glass blowing demonstration.
Same here. Yeah, I unfortunately don't have a lot of time to do other things, but yeah, a lot of the feedback that I've gotten from folks is exactly that those opportunities were amazing. Yeah.
I heard a lot of great things. Unfortunately, I was only able to, well, I guess I did not attend any this time, so I'm so sorry I didn't. But from what I'm hearing, I better get it there next year.
I watched the glass blowing from afar, and it was really received well, and it looked wonderful. And I loved that it was surrounded with all of the glass artists from Spanish Village. And also, I couldn't make the unveiling, but later I went to see Suzanne had her unveiling during the April Arts and Culture of the mural by, the Calvin Christian students. It was fabulous. And the photographer's eye was wonderful.
And Commissioner Paul led a really neat thing too, the jam.
Oh, yes. We had a flash jam, a bluegrass flash jam that went from restaurant to restaurant.
Oh, that's awesome.
And it was fun, and we were invited, even though we protested because there were 15 of us, but the Delight of France owner insisted that we come inside the restaurant, which was teeming with people and waitresses and waiters, and do our thing because somebody had a birthday in there. And it was pretty wonderful.
I have to applaud Commissioner Paul because we have been in search of an artist to do a box on Lake Wolford and Valley Parkway, and she was able to secure, hopefully, an artist. Could
From
you
the
tell us?
Indigenous Festival.
Oh, how cool.
And it was, yes, wonderful. So she's going to be doing a box, hopefully.
Awesome.
Yeah, the best part was how it brought the community together from all walks of life and all forms of art. It was really wonderful. I can't wait to do it again. This meeting is adjourned at 5:59.
Wait,
What?
I wanted to say something.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, it's okay. Also, like Robert, this is also my last meeting as well. I've decided not to put my name in the hat for to be a part of the commission, but I've been a part of this for about maybe 4 or 5 years now, and yeah, 5 years. It's been an absolute pleasure. I think I'm leaving this group in some of the best hands that I think I could leave it in. Honestly, we have such a good variety of folks on this commission, and from where I started to where we're at now is seriously light years away from the beginning. So I know you all will continue to do great work. It's bittersweet, obviously, but I am going to miss being able to make these decisions with you and be a part of this community. So thank you for everything you all have done and will continue to do. And Robert, I hope I know you're leaving it in good hands as well, and I'm sure you're going to rock whatever this next journey for you as well. So thank you all so much for everything.
Thank you, Juan.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Do I need to wait? Anybody else?
Sorry.
Okay. Meeting adjourned, 6:01.